The air inside the alien ship was quiet. Only the soft hum of blue lights filled the halls. Captain Ryan stood still, his uniform torn and covered in dust. He had seen many strange worlds, but nothing like this. In front of him stood Princess Elira, tall, graceful, with skin that shimmered like moonlight. Her silver hair floated gently in the soft air, and her eyes glowed faintly blue, like stars seen through water. She looked both human and not. Ryan didn't know how to speak. He had saved her world, but in doing so, destroyed the bridge that connected hers to his. He could never return. "You can't go," he finally said. His voice cracked. "You'll die if you stay when the field collapses." Elira smiled softly. "It is not death. It is transformation. My kind, we do not end, Captain. We become light." Ryan shook his head. "That's not fair. You're alive. You feel. You." She walked closer, her bare feet barely touching the glowing floor. "Human words cannot hold what we are," she whispered. "But before I go, I must say goodbye, the way my kind does." Ryan frowned. "Goodbye?" Elira's expression turned gentle, sad, and yet peaceful. "In our tradition, when two souls have shared trust, one must show their true form before parting." She raised her hands, and the thin, luminous fabric covering her began to dissolve like mist. Ryan turned away quickly, embarrassed. "Wait. You don't have to. Don't look away," she said softly. "This is how my kind says goodbye." Her voice wasn't demanding, it was almost pleading. The air around her shimmered, and her form began to change. Lines of light spread across her body like living circuits. Her skin glowed brighter, her shape both human and something beyond it, like a being made of energy and emotion. Ryan slowly turned his head, his breath caught. What he saw wasn't just beauty, it was pure light, pure sorrow. Elira's body radiated warmth, her silver hair floating in the glow. Her eyes looked at him with so much emotion it almost broke him. "Why are you showing me this?" he whispered. "Because," she said, her voice echoing inside his mind, "humans forget. But when you see this, you will remember me. Even if your kind forgets my name, your soul will not." He took a step closer, feeling the air tremble. The ship's alarms began to blare, the portal was closing. "Elira, come with me," he shouted. "You can survive on Earth." She smiled sadly. "Earth is too heavy for light like me. But you carry light inside you. That is why I chose you." The glow grew stronger, filling the room. Ryan shielded his eyes, but he didn't look away. He saw her transform into waves of white and blue light that lifted into the air, swirling around him like 1,000 tiny stars. Her voice came one last time, soft as a whisper carried by wind. "Don't look away, remember me when the stars fall." Then she was gone. Ryan stood alone in the empty chamber. The air was still. Only faint glowing dust floated where she had stood. He reached out, his fingers trembling, and the light touched his skin, warm, gentle, almost alive. He felt something inside him change, like part of her had entered him. When the rescue team finally found him hours later, he was staring at the starlit window of the ship. They asked what had happened. He didn't answer. He only said one thing, softly, like a secret meant for the stars. She said goodbye, in her way. The rescue ship hovered silently above the wreckage. Inside, Captain Ryan sat by the window, his gaze lost in the endless dark. Stars flickered across the void, but to him, they didn't look the same anymore. He could still feel her, Elira. Every time he blinked, he saw her face made of light. Every time he breathed, he felt warmth on his skin, like her glow never left him. The crew thought he was lucky to be alive. But he didn't feel lucky. He felt haunted. Dr. Elin came in quietly, her voice soft. "Captain, you should rest. You've been awake for 40 hours. Ryan shook his head. I'm fine. Just, trying to understand what happened. The doctor sighed. You keep saying she turned into light. Are you sure it wasn't some kind of explosion or energy discharge? Ryan smiled sadly. I know what I saw. She didn't push him further. But as she left, the light in the room flickered, just for a second, and Ryan heard something faint. A voice. Don't look away. He froze. His eyes darted around the cabin. The voice sounded like it came from inside his own mind, gentle, echoing, familiar. Elira, he whispered. Silence. Only the hum of the ship. He stood up and looked at his reflection in the glass. His eyes, they were glowing faintly blue. He touched his face, panic rising. What's happening to me? The reflection shimmered. For a moment, he thought he saw her, standing behind him, smiling, her silver hair flowing. Then it faded. Later that night, the dreams began. He saw her world, floating crystal cities surrounded by light, rivers made of energy, creatures of beauty and sorrow. He saw Elira walking among them, her voice echoing across the stars. She looked at him and said, Ryan, the bridge is not broken. It lives in you now. When he woke up, his hands were glowing faintly again. Over the next few days, strange things started happening on the ship. Engineer Mason complained that the power systems were acting weird. It's like the reactors responding to something alive, he said. The walls of the ship sometimes shimmered, almost breathing. At night, small orbs of light floated through the corridors. The crew called them ghost lights. Ryan didn't tell them what he suspected, that Elira wasn't gone. That her essence, her energy, had merged with him. But deep inside, he knew. When he closed his eyes, he could feel her emotions, calm, kind, curious. Sometimes, she would whisper to him, teaching him words in her ancient language. Other times, she showed him memories, her people standing under glowing trees, singing songs made of light. Yet with every vision came pain. The brighter she appeared, the weaker he felt. One night, while the ship drifted through silent space, he went to the observation deck alone. Stars stretched forever. He placed his hand on the glass. Elira, he whispered, if you're still here, why me? Why leave your light inside me? For a long moment, there was no answer. Then, faintly, he felt warmth on his shoulder, like a hand resting there. Because, her voice said softly, you didn't look away. Ryan closed his eyes. Tears fell quietly down his face. I thought goodbye meant the end, he said. For humans, maybe, she whispered. For my kind, goodbye is a beginning. The lights outside the ship brightened suddenly, forming patterns, circles and lines glowing in the darkness, like a map written in light. Ryan stared. What is this? Our path, Elira's voice said. You carry my light, and now, my people call to you. Then the pattern vanished, and the ship's alarm started ringing. The navigation system had locked onto unknown coordinates, far beyond known space. Dr. Elin rushed in. Captain. The ship's moving on its own. Ryan didn't answer. His eyes glowed bright blue again. He whispered, she's guiding us. The stars outside stretched, bending into tunnels of light. The ship jumped, faster than any human technology could move, following a trail only he could see. The crew panicked. But Ryan only stared ahead, calm and focused. He could hear Elira's voice clearly now. Follow the light, Ryan. The story is not over. The ship tore through space like a silent arrow of light. The human crew had no idea where they were going. The navigation screens showed no known star systems, no coordinates, no path to follow. Only the captain seemed calm. Captain Ryan stood at the front window, his eyes faintly glowing. The stars outside twisted and danced like waves on a living ocean. It was beautiful, and terrifying. "Captain, we need to stop," shouted Mason, the engineer. "The engines are overloading. If this keeps up, we'll burn out." Ryan didn't move. "No. She's guiding us." Dr. Elin stared at him. "She? You mean the alien princess?" "Ryan, she's gone. You're imagining things." He turned to face her, his voice quiet but firm. "Do you see that?" Outside, in the dark sea of space, a shape began to form, a vast glowing spiral of blue and white light, pulsing like a heartbeat. Elin gasped. "What is that?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Home. Her people." As the ship approached, the crew fell silent. The glowing spiral wasn't a star system, it was alive. Streams of energy moved like rivers, connecting massive floating structures made of crystal and light. They looked like cities, but they breathed and changed, shifting like living things. A voice filled the air, soft and musical, echoing through the walls of the ship. "Human vessel, you carry the light of Aelira. Do not fear." Everyone froze. Mason whispered, "Who said that?" Ryan's chest tightened. He knew that voice, not Aelira's, but something close. Elin's eyes widened. "It's speaking inside our minds." Ryan nodded slowly. "They don't use sound the way we do." The light outside grew brighter, and suddenly, the ship was surrounded by glowing figures, tall, graceful beings of pure energy, shifting between human and alien forms. They floated around the ship like guardians. One of them moved closer, its shape flickering with familiar patterns. "You are the one she chose," it said. Ryan swallowed hard. "Yes. I was with her when he stopped himself. When she turned into light." The being's glow dimmed slightly, like sadness. Aelira did not end. She became the bridge. "Through you, her memory breathes again." Elin stepped forward cautiously. "Bridge? What do you mean?" The being turned its glowing face toward her. "When our kind transforms, we pass part of our light to another. She chose the human. That is why you are here. She trusted you to carry her goodbye." Ryan felt warmth inside his chest, pulsing with every word. "I don't understand. Why me? I'm just human." The being's voice softened. "Because you did not look away. When others would have turned their eyes, you saw her truth. You saw what we are." Ryan lowered his head. "She said this was her way of saying goodbye." The being replied gently, "Yes. But to us, goodbye is not sorrow. It is promise. She gave you her light so we could find you, and so you could find us." The ship suddenly shook. A bright flash tore through the distance, a red storm forming far away. The beings of light turned their faces toward it. Ryan asked, "What is that?" "Darkness," one answered. "The void that devours stars. It follows where bridges are broken." Elin's eyes widened. "It's coming this way." Ryan looked at the glowing figures. "Can you stop it?" They hesitated. "Not alone. It feeds on energy, on light. But now, there is a new kind among us, human light." Ryan understood. "You mean me?" They nodded. "You carry her spark. Together, you can seal the rift before it consumes this sector." Mason shouted from the controls, "Captain, the energy field is rising. If it hits us, we're done." Ryan clenched his fists. The glow in his eyes grew brighter. "Tell the crew to hold position." Elin grabbed his arm. "Ryan, what are you doing?" "She gave me her light for a reason," he said quietly. "Now I know what it is." He closed his eyes, and the air around him began to hum. The glowing beings outside raised their hands, and streams of light connected them to the ship. The energy grew stronger, wrapping around Ryan like a living storm. Elira, he whispered, help me. A voice answered from within him, soft, calm, full of love. I never left you. The ship exploded with blue light, sending a wave of energy through space. The red storm halted, shattered, and then vanished, swallowed by the light. When the glow faded, everything was quiet again. Ryan opened his eyes. He was still standing, but weak. The beings outside bowed their heads. You have done what only light can do, one said. You are part of us now. Ryan smiled faintly, exhaustion in his eyes. She'd be proud, wouldn't she? She already is, the being replied. Her light burns in you, forever. Outside, the spiral of stars pulsed once more, as if the galaxy itself took a deep, peaceful breath. When Captain Ryan opened his eyes, everything was silent. The storm was gone. The ship floated in calm space, surrounded by the soft glow of alien light. His crew stared at him, afraid, confused, amazed. Dr. Elon ran forward first. Ryan. Are you alright? He looked at his hands. They were glowing faintly, soft lines of light moving under his skin like veins made of silver fire. He didn't feel pain. He felt alive. I think, he whispered, she saved us. Mason stepped back cautiously. No, Captain. You saved us. Whatever you did out there, it wasn't human. Ryan looked at him, unsure how to answer. He felt different. His body was warm but light, like he could hear the pulse of the universe. Somewhere deep inside, he could still feel Elira's voice, faint but calm, like a heartbeat made of light. She's still here, he said softly. Elon frowned. Ryan, what does that mean? Are you saying the alien is inside you? He nodded slowly. Her energy. Her essence. It's part of me now. Before Elon could respond, a voice echoed through the ship, a message from Earth Command. Captain Ryan, this is Admiral Hurst. We've received your signal. You and your crew are to return immediately for debriefing. Do not make contact with any unknown entities. Repeat, return home at once. Elon sighed. They're not going to understand any of this. Ryan smiled faintly. They won't believe a word. As the ship turned toward Earth, Ryan spent hours alone in his cabin. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes of Elira's memories, her people made of light, their songs, their sorrow, their beauty. She spoke to him sometimes. Not in words, but in feelings, warmth, peace, understanding. One night, he asked aloud, why me? Why give me this power? Her voice filled his mind, soft and distant. Because you looked with your heart, not your fear. You saw what humans could be. He smiled sadly. And what am I now? You are both, she said. Human and light. When they reached Earth orbit, dozens of ships surrounded them. The human authorities treated them like a danger, not heroes. Ryan and his crew were taken to a secure research facility. Scientists studied the ship, scanned it, and questioned every crew member. But the focus was always on him, they called him the hybrid captain. Ryan sat quietly in a bright white room, surrounded by machines. Wires connected to his body glowed faintly. Every time his heart beat, the sensors lit up blue instead of red. A scientist leaned forward. Captain Ryan, our readings show something extraordinary. Your cells have changed, partially crystalline, partially organic. You're generating energy levels far beyond human capacity. What happened to you out there? Ryan looked at him with calm eyes. I met someone who taught me how to say goodbye. The scientist frowned. That's not an answer. Ryan smiled slightly. It's the only one I have. At night, the facility grew quiet. Ryan stood by the window, watching the stars above the desert sky. He felt drawn to them, like they were calling his name. A whisper came from the air beside him. Ryan. He turned. Elira appeared, not in full form, but as a faint image made of blue light. You shouldn't be here, he said softly. If they see you. They cannot, she replied. I exist within the light now. Only you can see me. He stepped closer, emotions flooding him. I thought you were gone. I am part of you. But the connection is fading. My people are calling me home. Ryan's heart tightened. You're leaving again. She smiled gently. I never truly left. But soon, I must return to the light that created me. And when I do, you must decide who you are, human or starborn. He swallowed hard. I can't just let you go. Elira looked at him with soft eyes. Goodbyes are not endings, Ryan. They are beginnings. Her image flickered, fading slowly. Before she vanished, she whispered one last time. Don't look away. The next morning, alarms echoed across the facility. Ryan's body had started to glow, bright and uncontrollable. Machines failed, lights burst, and energy readings spiked. The scientists screamed, he's turning into pure energy. But Ryan wasn't afraid. He closed his eyes and saw her world again, her people, her light, her promise. He heard Elira's voice inside him, calm and sure. The bridge opens once more. Then, with a flash that lit up the sky, Ryan disappeared, leaving behind only a ripple of blue light that rose toward the stars. Ryan expected death. He had felt his body melt into light, every atom breaking apart, every thought dissolving. Yet when he opened his eyes, he was alive, not human, not energy, but something between. He floated in a vast sky filled with color. Waves of gold, blue, and silver curved around him like rivers made of air. Stars were close enough to touch, and each one pulsed like a heartbeat. There was no up or down, only endless beauty. When he looked at his hands, they were transparent, glowing softly. He could see light moving through them, flowing like gentle water. A voice called from far away. Ryan. He turned. Elira stood before him, no longer faint, no longer fragile. She was radiant, her form brighter than ever but still gentle to his eyes. Her silver hair floated like silk, and her eyes held galaxies inside. He smiled, his voice trembling. Elira. I thought I'd lost you. You found me, she said softly. You crossed the bridge. He looked around in awe. This is your world. She nodded. The Luminera. The realm of the living light. Few from your world have ever seen it. Ryan floated closer, reaching out. It's beautiful. It is alive, Elira said. Every beam of light you see is a memory, a thought, a life. My people exist as energy, but we still feel, still dream. Ryan frowned. Then what happened? Why were you dying before? Elira's face grew sad. Because the bridge between worlds was broken. We are bound to balance, light and matter must stay connected. When that balance fails, darkness grows. Ryan looked down at his glowing hands. And now I'm part of that balance. She smiled gently. Yes. You carry both, the touch of flesh and the soul of light. You are the bridge rebuilt. As they spoke, forms of light gathered around them, tall beings shaped like shimmering silhouettes. They bowed to Ryan. One of them said, the human carries the spark. He stands where two worlds meet. Elira turned to him. They welcome you, Ryan. You are not just visitor, you are part of our circle now. He hesitated. But I don't belong here. My crew, my world, they'll think I'm dead. Your body ended, Elira said softly, but your essence continues. You can still choose where your light shines. Ryan felt a strange peace settle inside him. Then show me what this world truly is. She nodded, and with a wave of her hand, the space around them changed. He stood on the surface of something that looked like glass and water combined. Below it, light moved like fish in an ocean. Cities of crystal floated above, towers of energy spiraling into clouds of color. There was no noise, only music made by vibration, soft and endless. Elira guided him through the radiant air. Our kind creates worlds by thought. What we imagine becomes light. It is how we build, how we heal. Ryan stared in wonder. It's like dreaming, but real. Yes, she said. But dreams need anchors. Without hearts to feel, light fades. He looked at her carefully. You mean, humans? Your kind carries emotion. Love, fear, hope. Those feelings give shape to light. That is why I reached out to you. That is why I showed you our goodbye. Ryan smiled faintly. You called it goodbye, but it wasn't, was it? Elira's eyes shone brighter. It was a promise. Suddenly the colors around them dimmed. A cold shadow passed through the sky. The other light beings turned toward it, their forms flickering nervously. Ryan asked, "What's happening?" Elira's tone grew serious. The darkness you saw before, it followed the bridge. It knows you exist now. He clenched his fists. Then we stop it. Together. Elira shook her head. It feeds on fear, on the cracks between light and matter. If you fight with anger, it will grow stronger. You must hold balance, be both human and light. Ryan took a deep breath. Tell me how. She placed her hand over his chest. Her touch felt warm, real, alive. Remember what it means to feel. Remember Earth, your people, your pain, your love. Let those memories guide your light. He nodded slowly. I understand. The glow around him brightened, shifting from blue to gold. The shadow in the distance paused, like it sensed his strength. Elira looked at him with pride. You are becoming what neither world has ever seen, a bridge that fights with compassion. Ryan smiled. Then let's make sure both worlds survive. The light around them grew stronger, wrapping them in waves of color. The shadow began to pull back, retreating into the void. Elira's voice was soft but certain. The final test is coming soon, Ryan. The bridge must hold, or both our worlds will fade. Ryan looked out over the endless sky of light and whispered, then I'll hold it. No matter what. The sky of light was no longer calm. At first it dimmed only slightly, as if a cloud had drifted across a sun that had never known night. Then the color began to drain, blue, silver, gold, until only pale white remained. Ryan felt it before he saw it, a chill that reached through his glowing skin into the memory of bone. Elira turned toward the horizon. It has found us. Out beyond the shining towers, darkness gathered. It wasn't just absence of light, it moved, twisting like smoke alive with hunger. Inside it were shapes, faces, hands, fragments of things trying to become whole. Ryan whispered, it looks familiar. Elira's voice trembled. Because it comes from you. He frowned. From me? She nodded slowly. Not only you, your kind. Every world that feels fear, anger, and grief leaves a shadow. The void feeds on those feelings. When you crossed the bridge, you brought a piece of humanity's darkness with you. Ryan stared at the black storm. So I did this. No, Elira said gently. You revealed it. Now we must heal it. The light beings gathered, forming a circle around them. They raised their hands, sending threads of color into the sky, but the shadow devoured each one. The music of the realm turned harsh, filled with discord. Ryan stepped forward. Let me go to it. Elira caught his arm. It will use your memories against you. He met her eyes. Then I'll remind it who I am. Before she could stop him, he pushed off the ground of light and drifted into the dark horizon. The air grew heavy, his glow dimmed, and whispers began around him. Failure. Fear. Loss. The voices were his own, memories from Earth, from battles, from moments when he'd wanted to give up. He saw his crew dying. He saw Alira fading. He heard Earth Command calling him a monster. The darkness spoke in a voice that was his but not. You can't save them, Ryan. You never could. He shouted into the void, you're not me. Yes, I am, the voice hissed. I am the part you hide. I am the fear of losing everything again. Ryan's glow flickered. He fell to his knees, surrounded by black mist. He wanted to run, but then he heard another voice, soft and bright. Alira. Remember what I told you. Feel, don't fight. He closed his eyes. Instead of pushing the darkness away, he breathed it in. He let himself feel the fear, the guilt, the sorrow. And with every breath, the fear turned warmer, less sharp. The shadow paused. What are you doing? Ryan opened his eyes. They blazed like suns. Accepting you. He stood, reached forward, and placed his glowing hand into the darkness. It burned, but he didn't pull away. You're part of me. You're part of all of us. But you don't have to destroy to exist. The shadow trembled. For a heartbeat it showed faces, his mother, his crew, even his younger self, then broke apart into thousands of tiny lights that rose upward like fireflies. The Luminara realm brightened again. The towers sang softly, and Alira appeared beside him, tears of light on her cheeks. You did it, she whispered. He smiled weakly. I didn't fight it. I forgave it. She touched his chest where the glow was strongest. That is what humans can do, turn darkness into hope. That is why the bridge must remain. The other beings approached, their light calm once more. The balance is restored, one said. The void is at peace, for now. Ryan looked around. But it's never gone, is it? Alira shook her head. Darkness will always exist where there is life. Balance does not mean erasing it. It means understanding it. He took her hand. Then we'll keep it balanced, together. Her smile was soft but uncertain. Our paths will soon divide again. The bridge cannot stay open forever. Ryan's heart tightened. Then at least let me see your world one last time. She nodded, and light rose around them like dawn. They stood over the endless horizon where stars grew like flowers, blooming brighter with every heartbeat. This is what your courage gave us, Alira said. A second sunrise. He turned toward her, the glow of his body gentle and steady. And you gave me something I didn't know I needed, a reason to believe that goodbye can still mean love. The sky shimmered, signaling the end of his stay. The bridge was beginning to close. Alira stepped closer, her voice breaking with warmth. When you return to your world, Ryan, remember this, light is not a place. It is a choice. He reached out, their fingers almost touching, light meeting light. Then I'll keep choosing it. The realm around them began to fade, stars bending into a tunnel of blue. Alira's final words drifted through the air as he disappeared into the light. Don't look away. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was back inside the damaged ship. The alarms were silent now. The red lights were gone. Outside the cracked window, the stars of deep space burned like watchful eyes. But something was different. His body still glowed faintly, though softer than before. The colors of the Luminara realm, blue, gold, white, still shimmered faintly across his skin. He could feel Alira's warmth inside his chest, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. For a long moment, he just sat there in silence, staring at his reflection in the glass. I'm home, he whispered. But it didn't feel like home anymore. He spent hours repairing the ship, guided by instincts that felt beyond human. Machines that once refused to work now hummed to life when he touched them. The light seemed to respond to his thoughts. When the communication link finally reconnected, a voice crackled through. "Commander Ryan Hale, this is Earth Command. We lost contact for 3 weeks. What happened?" Ryan hesitated. 3 weeks. For him, it had felt like days. "I crossed a bridge," he said quietly. "And met someone who showed me what we could be." The officer on the other end sounded confused. "Are you injured, Commander?" Ryan looked at his glowing hands and smiled softly. "No. But I'm changed." When he returned to Earth, the world greeted him like a ghost. Reporters surrounded him, scientists asked endless questions, and military officers demanded reports. But none of them could understand what he'd seen. How could he describe a realm made of emotion and light? How could he explain Elira, the princess who undressed not for desire, but for truth? They wanted proof. He only had faith. In a closed meeting, a general slammed a file on the table. "We found this energy signature in your ship." "What is it, Hale?" Ryan leaned forward, eyes calm. "It's called Luminara." "Is it a threat?" "No," Ryan said. "It's a promise." The general frowned. "We don't deal in promises, Commander. We deal in power." Ryan's glow brightened slightly. "That's exactly the problem." The room fell silent. Later that night, Ryan stood alone on the observation deck. Earth spun below, blue and fragile. He thought of Elira's final words, "Light is not a place. It is a choice." He could feel her still, faint but present, like a whisper in the back of his mind. "Are you there?" he asked softly. The stars outside flickered in reply, and for a brief moment, one of them pulsed brighter, like a heartbeat. He smiled. "I know. I won't look away." Weeks passed. Humanity grew curious about the strange energy that surrounded Ryan's ship. Some feared it. Others saw hope. When scientists tried to replicate it, their machines failed, until Ryan touched the controls. Then light spread, alive and calm. "This is the bridge," he explained. "It connects feeling to creation. It doesn't belong to one world, it belongs to all." People didn't understand right away. Some mocked him. Others called him the Lightbringer. But slowly, quietly, the world began to change. Energy grids began glowing more efficiently when powered by emotion sensors. Pilots reported dreams of color and warmth. And children spoke of the glowing lady who smiled from the stars. Elira's presence was everywhere, even if no one else could see her. One night, Ryan stood again where it all began, at the ruins of his launch site. The air was still, and the stars seemed closer than ever. He closed his eyes, whispering, "You said goodbye by showing me who you were. Let me say goodbye by showing the world who we can be." He touched a crystal he'd taken from the Luminara realm, now dim in his hand. Slowly, it began to glow again. The light spread across the ground, into the air, forming a faint shape, a woman made of stars and soft blue light. Elira. Her smile was sad but full of love. "You kept your promise." Ryan's throat tightened. "I didn't know if you'd hear me. I always hear light when it calls with love." She stepped closer, her form flickering. "But this is my final visit. The bridge cannot remain open forever." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll keep it alive here." He touched his chest. "In every human who chooses light." Elira reached out, her fingers brushing his cheek. "That is how goodbye becomes forever." She leaned close, their foreheads almost touching, and whispered, "Don't look away." And then she was gone, her form bursting into thousands of glowing fragments that drifted into the night sky. Ryan stood there, bathed in the falling light, smiling through tears. He whispered, "I never will." Epilogue. Years later, humanity called it the Age of Illumination. Ships powered by emotion-based energy crossed the stars. Wars lessened. People began to feel before they fought. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, a faint glow shimmered in the darkness, like a heartbeat waiting for someone brave enough to cross the bridge again.